So any questions that these other fine gentlemen can't answer for us, Rob will fill in the blanks. All of these questions are understood that they're simply opinions in interviews with these fine gentlemen of the Free Man on the Land. Are you all part of the Free Man on the Land Society? No? They're not. Just pretty smart guys. Answered some basic questions that we have. We understand that this is not legal advice. Sweet. So Kanaska's got the first question.
Okay.
Come on over here.
Alright, listen to anyone who can answer it. How can a man or woman become a free man or woman? And when you say man, do you mean mankind or just man in the masculine term of the word man?
Women shouldn't be free.
That's what I was thinking.
I'm teasing. Free man is used without any gender specificity
It's
there.
He-Man.
Yeah.
It's like
How did they become unfree is the question.
Yeah.
Very good question.
Your freedom's not something somebody gives you, it's something you take and you assert. And it's a state of mind rather than a documented, approved state of mind.
You don't need the document to be free, but it helps so that you can maintain your freedom and you can establish that you have communicated your understanding and intent and beliefs with the proper party.
So it starts with your mentality,
yes.
That you're thinking. You have to believe that you're free first, and then
No, if you honestly believed you were free, you wouldn't feel the need to take these steps. So I believe you must feel that you have the capacity for freedom.
Right.
But if you were already enjoying it, why would you even bother taking these steps? I wouldn't see that. So I understand you're close, but not bang on.
Right. Well, I mean, like, to get out of this society, you have to first believe that you're free, and then take the steps to become a free man.
You have to be a member of the society first.
Right.
Well, you have to realize that the society is this structure that's basically represents a system, and you have to decide whether you're a slave to that system or a prisoner in that system. If you're a slave, you're just going to keep looking for a new master and keep repeating the same cycles, but if you're a prisoner, you're going to seek to find a way out and then take as many people with you.
You do have to wake up before you get out of bed.
Right.
Yes.
So whether or not your freedom is, I don't know that I'm wondering if maybe our definition of freedom is a little bit off, a little bit different.
Freedom isn't free.
Freedom isn't free.
Because the cost of it is responsibility. Right? A lot of people mistakenly start learning Free Man on the Land stuff or any solutions in commerce, and they think that it's like going to be this golden ticket to like get a free house, a Porsche, and like tell the government to stick it. And that's completely the wrong mentality, because it's not some golden ticket, right? It's about discovering your own power and realizing that you make one of two choices. You either give your power away to some other entity, or you claim your power for yourself and you act accordingly, right? So anytime you're interacting with any authority, if you take them at their word and obey every one of their commands, then you're giving your power away. But if you first start with the mentality that, okay, I'm a prisoner here, I want to escape, you do these things to kind of get your mental understanding around the concept of freedom and all the responsibility that comes along with it. It's not just some free ride where it's like, everything's going to be free. It's like, it's different than liberty, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But once you get around that, then yeah, filing the paperwork is so you have something to stand on when the authorities come to you and say, we didn't say you're free, we didn't give you permission. It's your way of saying, I don't need your permission, I'm just letting you know out of, common human dignity.
I've had a lot of people say too, I'll believe that I can exist without the government's permission when the government gives me permission to do so.
Exactly.
So it doesn't work. I think the place to start really is an awareness of our own divinity and our equality. And if you are aware that you're divine and we're all equal here, who is anyone else to come up to you and say, listen, I'm governing you, these are your words, these are our words, but they're your laws, you can't understand them, we can, so do what we tell you. It just doesn't fit in with the concept of divinity and equality.
Well, that kind of brings us to our next question. For the viewers that are new to this information, I'm sure they'd be asking, what are the benefits of becoming a free man?
Well, that question reveals a few things. First of all, becoming a free man means giving up all your benefits. Okay? I get questions like people are like, hey, how can I become a free man and still collect my EI? Yeah. And it's like, you can't, they want to have their cake and eat it too, right? but the whole thing is that becoming free really becomes being responsible and being self-responsible, self-reliable, and it almost harkens to a libertarian philosophy where you're saying to the government, I'm not going to use any of your services, or at least the ones I don't pay for, right? Anytime you go out and engage in commerce, you buy anything, you're paying into the system. You're paying GST or PST or something.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So just because you don't pay income tax doesn't mean you're not contributing, first of all.
Yeah.
But you're saying, I'm not just going to vote in some 4-year, every 2 or 3 years in something. I'm going to vote every day with the money I spend, with my fork. I'm going to vote, I decide, pineapple today, or whatever, right? It's the choices that you make, right? And so if you're coming from a place where you think you're free, but you're having to go ask permission for your freedom, they need it missing.
I'll add on to that, because I don't think the question was specific to government benefits.
Yeah,
they didn't ask what government benefits. The biggest benefit that I think you'll find as a free man on the land, one is a big sense of there's no more fear. You start living your life when the cops pull up behind you, you're excited about testing this information out and you're not scared of it. The other thing, you end up living your life knowing that you're following your own heart instead of someone else's words at the expense of your own heart. That right there, to me, that's priceless. That's worth more than any government-issued benefits.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
What's wrong with that government benefits?
What's wrong with it?
There's lots of benefits from the government. You just got to know who you're benefiting, right?
That's right.
Free man's not getting benefits. His person is.
Yeah.
Depending on how you want to use
That's
it.
right.
If you want to use it.
That's right.
So you can be a free man and still use your person, right?
I don't believe so.
No?
The person is all persons are evidence of a relationship, of an association. The person evidences rights and duties. Rights and duties are always a function of an association. The person, if you look at
It's a game piece.
yeah, if you look at like a family, a child, a little toddler, has certain rights and freedoms and duties, and he has a person, and he gets diapers put on him and put to bed. But then you have members of that same family who now grow up, they become adults, they go out to university, they leave the house, they're no longer treated like a toddler. I do see that, I mean, if everyone in Canada became a free man and said, fuck you, we're not going to have any persons whatsoever, our country would crumble.
Yeah, it would.
But what I don't see is that I don't see why having rights and duties should be associated with a person which right now the government looks at as a ward of the state, as a child of the province. So if you look at it strictly as a person, if you look at a person strictly as that unit of which the rights and duties are fundamental attributes, then as a free man on the land, I certainly have rights and freedoms and duties, so there would be a person, but it's not a person created by the government, given to me, which identifies me as one of their charges. Now, one of the issues of contention that Christy and I have is the access to our value, our abundance. If you imagine it, use the analogy of a family where you have a child and a nanny, and the child owns part of the house. They're the heir of this incredible wealth, not the nanny. So the nanny takes care of the child. And now the child gets to 18 and it just wants to be treated continually like a child. Maybe nanny's putting some in the water to make it act like a retarded adult. And yet, what I see is the adult can wake up, no longer act like, you know, like they're developmentally handicapped. And then start taking on responsibility for their own funds, their own trusts. Now at that point, you still have your wealth, but you're just not going to nanny government to access it. And to me, that's essentially, if you look at what, you know, very rich families, when they have kids who inherit, that's what they essentially do. Up until maybe 30, they're given an allowance and training, and at 30, then the trust reverts to them, and they're responsible for it.
They have to respond.
And so I think our person right now, for the most part, if you have a person evidenced by the creation of submission of an application and registration, you have a person which is a creature of the government, and thus you're bound by them. If you, however, go through the notice of understanding and intent and a claim of right, you're rejecting that person in favor of one that you have created, and you haven't abandoned any of your wealth, you haven't abandoned your ability to engage in commerce, and you still now have greater control over your own funds, over your own activity, and they still have to see you as someone who has a right to be here, and certainly someone who has the power and the right to access courts. I just filed documents in court against Carmel Wiseman last month, I guess.
Oh, really?
And I told the clerk, yeah, I'm a free man on the land. I'm Robert Arthur of the Menard family. They're like, we have no way to put that in our computer. I said, well, that's your problem, not mine.
That's it. That's it.
So they put it in, and the mail they sent me, the letterhead on it, it's filed under a free man on the land, Robert Arthur.
Oh, fantastic. That's awesome. That's
so they, the courts recognize it. So if the government comes and says, no, I don't recognize it, too bad, the courts already have.
That's
have a
it.
good day.
And they got